Hi, everyone. It's Dr. Arlene Diamco, the Multidimensional MD. My mission is to help bring the intuitive spirit back to medicine in practical and tangible ways so that you can access deeper healing and experience more peace, love, and joy in your everyday lives. And before I get started with today's episode, I had a huge announcement to make that is really meaningful to me, both personally and professionally. And this is something that I started a year ago, actually years ago, but I recorded the audiobook for my book, I Am Intuitive, a multidimensional guide to embrace your inner light. And I recorded that l- uh, already a year ago. And there's been a lot of back and forth and tweaking things and working with sound engineering to get it just right for uploading and working with our schedules and everything. And I am so honored and happy and just full of love and gratitude and service to be able to present this to you. So my audiobook is now available. I did check it's on Google Play, it's on Apple, it's on Spotify, and it is ready for download, which is absolutely incredible. And if you I mean, many of you might know me from more recent years. If you knew me many years ago or when I was growing up, I was really much quieter, much shyer, more hesitant and unsure of myself. And so to be able to record an audiobook and let my voice be heard in this way is so meaningful for me. And so if you have ever felt like that, just like unsure that you could do something or maybe afraid to speak up, not sure that your voice was heard, then I want you to know that you have so much resilience and you have so much potential, and we all have that ability within us. So give yourself a big hug and hug all those parts of yourself, even the ones that might shy back from things, feel hesitant, not as confident, feels like they don't have a voice. I want you to consciously, mindfully give those parts of yourself a hug because they understand how you feel, they understand how other people feel, and they also understand the importance of resilience and loving yourself and healing and how good that can feel. So this is for everyone. Please, if you get a chance, get a copy, listen to the audiobook, then you get to hear it in my voice. And I would love to hear from you. Any feedback, how you think about it, how it makes you feel. I would absolutely love to hear about all of that. So now on to today's episode, which is on oral functional health. And the reason I started thinking about this is because in osteopathy and in the holistic integrative world, we talk about this concept of holism, the body as a unit, mind, body, spirit, everything working together. And so there's this concept of tensegrity in the body where everything is related. And so the part actually helps and strengthens the whole. So think about a balloon or the Epcot globe. So if you took a balloon and you were to squeeze any part of it, then you would feel that throughout. So if there's any tension anywhere in your body, then you would be able to feel that throughout. And this is especially important it's important in every aspect of health. But when we start to think about oral functional health, then this concept of tensegrity really comes into play. And that term tensegrity was coined by Buckminster Fuller. He was an inventor, engineer, architect. He talked about spaceship Earth. He was in the mid 1900s, and he was far above his time. So that tension, integrity coming together for oral functional health. If you have any tension in your jaw, any headaches, any sinus issues, any dark circles under your eyes, trouble swallowing, then listen up because we're going to go through some basics on oral functional health. And then also like some very simple exercises that you can do for it. And it really starts from understanding. So structure and function are interrelated. And this is something that we talk about over and over again as a foundation for osteopathy. And how you use your jaw affects how the bone forms, because the bone forms under tension, and the more force that's under, then it shapes the bone. So that means changes can be made even after childhood, even after puberty. So into your adulthood, that changes to the shape of your jaw, your face, your alignment, your symmetry can be made even later in life. And that is absolutely remarkable. The tongue contributes to the shape of the palate and all of the arches of the body, including the thoracic inlet here, the diaphragm, the pelvis, and the arches of your feet. So imagine if you were a master architect, an engineer designing a building. How would your arches support each other? So we could break that down and talk about in detail about all these different arches and what you can do. But for oral functional health, we're focusing up here, but also how it relates to the body as a whole. So if you're a master architect, you would want all those arches to somehow be in balance and aligned with each other, right? And what happens if you have any stress or tension placed in any area? And what kinds of supportive columns would you need to be in place? So think about the occiput, your back of your head, and the pelvis. These, like the pelvis, like a bowl, and then the occiput here, like an upside, another bowl there. And they're like mirror images to each other. So as above and so below. So if you twist one, you twist the other. If there's any tension in one area, it will pull all the way through and pull on the other. And this is literally physics. So we don't often talk about physics as much in modern medicine. We talk about it in terms of like imaging, but we spend so much time focused on chemistry and biology. But we really need to include the science of physics to fully understand the body, because I'm in so many different medical groups and online, and I see over and over again, many of my colleagues have like very little understanding about the structure of the body. And I don't mean to say that in a demeaning way. It's just not necessarily emphasized or taught in regular medical school. So I'm an MD. I did not go to osteopathic school, but I learned that postgraduate afterwards. And so I have many physicians saying, like, I don't understand how the function of what's up here has anything to do with the rest of your body, or how your tongue could affect any other arches in your body, or what would your feet have to do with your mouth. I mean, if you don't understand physics, it seems like a stretch, because it's like your tongue and your toe, what does it have to do with each other? But if you start to understand physics and you think about how a building is put together and how it needs to be structurally sound, so that the building can function for the people in it, and all the everything, the wiring that's going through it, think about the nerves, the circulation, the pipes, everything needs to be functioning for the whole building to function. And if any structure goes awry, it can put some pressure on some of those structures, and the signaling might not work as well. The pipes might burst, or I mean, that would be an extreme, but something could happen. But so the columns, in terms of the structure of the body, of course, you have your spine, but you also have all these fascial layers, this connective tissue that is wrapping the bones, wrapping all the organs, wrapping the vessels, and making sure that everything stays in place. So from your tongue, then it's connected to all this fascia, and this fascia just in front of your trachea, and it webs with all this deeper fascia and the fascia in front of your spine. So all of these things need to be able to work together. And to support the palate, the tongue is meant to rest at the top of your mouth. So when you're not speaking, when you're not eating, at just a quiet rest position, the tip of your tongue should be just behind your teeth and really resting. A lot of the tongue should be resting right on that palate, so you can check for yourself. Just quietly sit and then see, where does your tongue go? Is it at the bottom? Or is it slightly touching? Or is it really more fully up against the palate? And then when you swallow, the tongue is supposed to stay there. The tip of the tongue is supposed to stay there and then press up against the palate. It's not supposed to be down here. It's not supposed to be pushing outwards trying to swallow. So you could even just do a dry swallow or take some water or take a bite of something and then observe your swallow. What is your tongue doing? Is it trying to push up against your teeth? Is it is it pushing up against your palate? Is it a proper swallow? And then check other things like what is there any tension to the way your tongue is tethered? So and then is there any tension to your jaw? So technically we say you should be able to fit 3 finger widths in your mouth when you open it. But you should be able to fit that with your tongue at the tip of your tongue just behind your teeth. So when you make that T sound or a clicky sound, put your tongue right there and then see how wide you can open your mouth. Can you still fit 3 finger widths through? And this is also how singers are taught to sing be able to open their mouths wide to have like a nice resonant voice. So can you do that? If not, then there's probably some tension holding it somewhere. And so just paying attention to oral functional health, and I'll give you some simple exercises at the end to help with that. Now, when you are speaking or talking, the tongue needs to move to be able to make the sounds and to have a nice resonant voice. So if you're speaking and talking, the tongue needs to actually drop down. So now we have like much more fluctuation. It's not meant to be static, and this is why we have to understand like the function and placement in terms of function. So when you're speaking or talking, the tongue needs to drop down, and you have much more resonant speaking voice if you do that, and a more resonant singing voice if you do that. So if you listen to me, so if I speak or talk and I keep my tongue from going down as much, you can see that my voice sounds a little bit different. It might sound a little bit more nasal, or it sounds like it has a little bit more tension to it. But if I start to talk with my tongue dropping down more, then you can hear that my voice sounds much different and it's much more resonant. And that resonance also helps to create some release in tension in the body. It helps you feel more relaxed. It helps you get your voice heard, which is kind of remarkable. I'm talking about this. And I also announced at the beginning that my audiobook came out. And so this all goes together. So it's your jaw, how it moves, the tension, the way the tongue moves, the way you speak, the way you swallow, the way you breathe. So many things that we can talk about affect the whole architecture and the function of your body. So I'm going to close with just a couple really quick exercises. And this is to help just release tension in your jaw and in your mouth and face area. And so if you were just to pretend like you were floating, just floating in fluid, floating in space. And a lot of times, and I've seen this after the holidays, even if people had a great time, there was a lot going on. And so there's been some more tension in people's jaws afterwards. And so just to help relax your jaw, just imagine your jaw floating and take a few moments there to breathe into that floating jaw. Because when you're trying to keep everything together, you can start to get like this feeling of like gritting your teeth, even if you're not really pushing your teeth together, but you might just be the tension in the jaw. So to breathe in to those areas of tension and give it this feeling of floating. Good. And then we can add to that this feeling of a free fall. So you could do this sitting, you could do this standing, you could do this lying in your bed, which I love to do before I go to sleep at night. It's just imagining this free fall. And I'm being supported by whatever you would like to imagine, a beautiful nest of feathers, angel wings, the hands of God or hands of the universe just cradling you so that you can feel free to release every area of tension into this infinite free fall, trusting that you are supported no matter what. So you'll let yourself relax your jaw by floating. Just pretend like you're floating in fluid and then let yourself free fall. So you can do a body scan from head to toe to help yourself with that free fall. So just letting your head float in free fall, your neck, your jaw, your shoulders, everything that you've been trying to hold together for so long. Breathing into that and letting that sigh out. Breathing to every rib and let them feel more like the chords of a harp, where as you breathe down, they just make this beautiful sound. So then you're letting that diaphragm open up, letting all these different arches feel both the support and release of tension at the same time. So it's like this sweet spot. You relax but feel support at the same time through your hips, down to your feet, letting those arches also relax in this infinite free fall that is infinitely supported. And that's a very simple, yet it can be profound exercise for teaching your body to relax and be in resonance with each other, with all its different parts, and gives you a moment to take care of each of those parts and give it a moment of your presence, the gift of your presence, the gift of your breath, so that you can realize that interconnectedness of everything. And if you would like to learn more about oral functional health, because that's a kind of a big overview. And again, if you have any tightness in your tongue, your swallow, your jaw, any sinus problems, TMJ issues, uh, dark circles, narrow palates, any obstructive breathing, snoring, tension in your head, neck, even like facial blemishes, then this workshop can help because it'll help to open up some pathways, release tension in various areas. And we'll be doing some before and after videos and photos so you can follow along at every step of the way what we're going to be working through. So this will be we'll go over the foundations to proper movement and alignment, the obvious and subtle signs of tension in the face, the tongue, and the jaw, and what creates tension and ways to release it. And we're going to go through a bunch of different easy face, tongue, and jaw exercises that can have a big impact. We're going to have a lot of one on one feedback from me and my colleague, Dr. James Gatos, and we'll be combining our osteopathic knowledge and our experience in energy medicine as well to bring you this fresh take on oral functional health. So we'll be talking about structure, function, energy medicine, and so many things. This is on Wednesday. It's in a couple of weeks coming up, Wednesday, January 28th, and that's in my office at All Worlds Health from 6 to 8 p.m. So this one is an in-person workshop. Maybe we'll be able to do some virtually, but we wanted to be able to do some really in-person, in-depth, face-to-face feedback so that people could really get to know it. And if we are able to adapt this for a virtual program, then we will do that in the future as well. If you have any questions on that, please let me know in the comments. And as always, if you'd like to connect with me in other ways, you can on Instagram at All Worlds Health, Facebook, All Worlds Health and Pediatrics, and on my website, allworldshealth.com. You can sign up for my e-love letters. I send them out about once a week, usually on Wednesdays, sometimes other days. And I would love to hear from you. So, as always, I believe in you, and I hope that you believe in you too. Please send me a message. I would love to hear from you. Like and share this with anyone that you feel like could use it. Take care. I'll see you next time.